Hello guys, welcome. I just want to say, first of all, the video that I published last week was very emotionally driven, and I received such an outpouring of support. I didn't get around to look through all the comments. I've read a lot of them, but didn't get around to reply to a lot of them. And I've just got to say that the support I've had on social media, the support that I've had from you guys on YouTube, it has been overwhelming and has made me incredibly happy. And I very, very, very much appreciate all of you reaching out and telling me what you think of my casting, or maybe how my content has helped you, or whatever. That really does mean the world to me. I really love positive interactions with my YouTube community, and that was one of the most positive experiences, and an experience that I'll probably remember for a very long time. You guys single-handedly kind of reignited my passion to keep going, and I think that I'll always be thankful for you guys for that, so I appreciate you. Also, thanks to G2A for sponsoring the channel. Guys, I know I've done you dirty this month, G2A. I know I've done you dirty, but you guys are also awesome, and I really appreciate you, and thanks for keeping the channel going. Right, so let's talk about the champion changes in 3.0a. The patch notes got leaked. I don't know if this was supposed to be the intended release time for the patch, but anyway, we're going to go through the patch notes regardless. I know I'm a little bit late, but they came out when I was in the dead of night, when I was giga asleep, so there's no way that I was waking up at 3 a.m. to do this. Amumu, he's getting a 0.5 range increase on his bandage toss, which is, what, in the region of about 60% or so? No, what, 6%? In the region of about 6%. What much 60% Excoundrel? I know it's early, but Jesus Christ. 6%, or there or thereabouts. It's a small range increase. I still think, I still do think that Amumu support is viable, especially with the double bandage toss, and I think especially with people like Misfortune, I believe we might see some more Amumu support. I don't think bandage toss is going to make Amumu viable at the higher levels. The main reason being is that that's not the reason why Amumu was struggling at high elo. Amumu just can't fight for early scuttle crabs. He's not a very strong duelist, and junglers that aren't strong duelists don't tend to do very well in high elo. However, and also if I'm picking a tank, I'm more often than not picking Nunu. Amumu is just kind of down there on, or even Rammus, to be honest with you, but Amumu is just a bit further down there on terms of the in terms of what he offers for a team. However, his engage potential and his teamfight potential is really strong. You just kind of have to get him through those first few early levels. But I do like the fact that he's getting a slightly longer range increase, which is pretty cool. Camille has been a bit too strong. I think Camille has been quite strong. Outer cone bonus damage is going down by 2% of target's max HP, which actually is a pretty decent chunk off. And her Hextech Ultimatum, the damage is going down. Okay, so the flat damage is going down, and it's increasing the percentage of current health. The zone duration is also going down in the lower levels until you're level 15. So basically, Hextech Ultimatum is going to be worse against squishy targets. It's still going to be a relatively good tank shredding, but it's actually going to be significantly worse against squishier targets, especially because there is no flat damage scaling on it anymore. It is just 30 plus 15% of target's current health, which obviously the closer they get, or the lower health they get, the less effective that becomes, and that's where the flat damage was supposed to come in and be a bit more impactful. So it's going to be good against high health targets still, but if you're hitting someone with Hextech Ultimatum when they're already half HP, you're actually going to see a pretty significant damage drop. I mean, Tactical Sweep, that was more for lane, so that affects Baron lane Camille more than it affects jungle Camille. The Hextech Ultimatum is going to hit her hard across the board. The thing is, Hextech Ultimatum, even if you nerf the damage on it, it's still an incredibly useful ability. So Camille is still going to have her place as a hyper carry lockdown type of champion. But this definitely hurts Camille. I think this ultimate nerf is enough to kind of push her down the tier lists a little bit. Draven, 130% bonus AD ratio. It's a 20% AD ratio buff on Whirling Death, which is his major damage source, obviously. Sorry. Bloody hell. That's a big that's a big percentage damage increase for Draven, especially because You don't build attack speed. You are just flat damage builder 100%. That's actually kind of nutty in my opinion. Good Draven players will start to kind of be a bit more steamrolly, I think. It also makes Draven way more snowbally, because if you go back and cash in on one kill and pick up your BF swords or your bloodthirsters, like, you're getting way more value out of that, way more snowball potential. So the Draven is going to be scary this patch, I feel anyway. Gragas is getting a base attack damage increase to help with his jungle clear speed. Also is going to make his melee trading with other melee top laners better as well, like Drunken Rage plus a 6 AD buff. Like, that's a lot more damage in terms of trading in the Baron lane. This is just going to make Gragas better overall, in my opinion. I like that change. Also, like, opening up Gragas jungle is a nice addition, because we don't have that many good AP junglers, and I think getting Gragas into a position where he's a viable AP jungler is healthy for the meta. Do I think this is going to make him, like, I don't think it's going to suddenly make him S tier, right? But, you know, I think good Gragas players will be happy. Like, I'm going to be happy about playing Gragas in Baron lane versus other melee matchups now, because I'm getting 6 AD bonus every time I bonk them with Drunken Rage, which is nice. Jace has been kind of OP. Base attack damage nerf, Hextech capacitor movement speed, which is when he changes forms, I think. And To the Skies bonus damage. So they're actually getting a 10% bonus damage nerf on To the Skies and Shock Blast. The base attack damage nerf is the highest, is the biggest thing, because that's going to stop him from having like a ridiculous level 1. Like, one of Jace's strongest points in the game is level 1, because you have a basic attack that reduces resistances, a 58 damage basic attack, a Shock Blast, a empowered basic attack on your hammer form, and then a To the Skies, which does a bunch of damage. It's like untradeable for most people at level 1. So toning down his like very early levels is pretty important, in my opinion. Do I think this is going to make Jace non-viable? It depends on how big this 10% nerf is, because what made Jace good was his damage in hammer form. Like, his damage in ranged cannon form actually is kind of laughable. But his damage in cannon form is actually really good. Sorry, in hammer form is really good. So that it's worth testing whether that's going to be a big enough impact or not. But it's nerfs that Jace needed. That's for certain. It's just, I just don't know whether they're like nerfs that are going to remove Jace or make him less viable. It really depends on how impactful this is, especially in his hammer form, because realistically, Shock Blast, his ranged form first ability, did like no damage anyway. So yeah. Katarina. Why are we buffing Katarina? Riot. Just putting this out there. Why are we buffing Katarina? We don't need Katarina buffs. No one, I mean, she's this almost just makes me want to put her back on the ban list. I kind of want to just put her back on the ban list, you know. That's 20% over the whole channel of Death Lotus. I mean, there is a reason why Death Lotus's AP ratio is very high, right? It's because it's about the damage that it deals over the entire channel. So 20% in the grand scheme of things is not an absolutely ridiculous increase. Like, if you're looking at a percentage increase of the percentage, it's like a less than 10% increase of the damage. Like the overall damage output anyway. I don't think Katarina needed it personally. I don't think I think the reason that Katarina struggles is that people like Zed and Yasuo are really popular right now, and she struggles into those kind of matchups. So, but yeah, you know, like, if you want me to ban Katarina every game again, I'm happy to. Safeguard cooldown is getting increased. I kind of like that. I think Safeguard's a ridiculous ability. The wildrift version of it anyway, so I like that we're getting a safe down cooldown nerf. I don't know if those 2 seconds are enough to make Lee Sin not viable. I don't think they are. I still think, like, Lee Sin is good for a reason, and it definitely isn't. Like, most trades, you're getting one channel of Safeguard off in like a trade in Lee Sin in the early game. So, like, because the cooldown's so long, you're very rarely in fights where you're cycling Safeguard more than twice anyway. So, I mean, I still think Lee Sin's going to be good after this. it's a nice nerf, and it's definitely going to make him easier to lock down for those key 2 seconds. Like, there are so many situations where Lee Sin is like able to get away with like a sliver of HP because that safeguard has come off cooldown just in time. So you know, you'll be able to punish Lee Sin's and his mobility a bit more frequently here, but I just don't feel like this is going to make him unplayable. We don't want Lee Sin to be unplayable. He's a great champion. He's got great skill expression, but I still think he'll be a frequent high elo jungle pick. I just don't think the safeguard cooldown was the problem. Just think it's his inordinate amount of dueling potential in the early game. And the fact that I mean, the problem is it's not even the cooldown of safeguard, it's just the ability safeguard. The fact that you can basically dash anywhere you like is actually ridiculously OP. And that's the problem with Lee Sin. He just has way too much mobility with very few constraints on how he can use that mobility. And so the cooldown on safeguard, I know it's trying to tackle that, but I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference. Morgana. She is getting a base armor buff, I guess, to help her with mid lane, but also to help her support, because that's a nice addition. Her base damage on Tormented Shadow, which is her pool, is getting nerfed, and her Soul Shackles are also getting nerfed. So her damage is getting nerfed, but they're also just increasing her armor to make her a little bit more tanky. No, I wouldn't say this is... The Soul Shackles change is relatively big, because you're going to lose, I mean, what, you're probably going to lose 1% of target's max health? Oh, yeah. It's okay. We'll call this a level result for Morgana. All right, now back to SETT. Okay, so base attack damage down, base bonus attack speed going down, base attack speed per level going down. Right punch bonus physical damage is now 5 times level, and knuckle down bonus damage against monsters is 100. So his jungle's getting killed a little bit. His Blade of the Ruined King build is definitely... I mean, these attack speed changes are absolutely in line with the fact that they were like, Blade of the Ruined King Black Cleaver set probably isn't healthy, and it's ridiculously strong. I just went on a podcast last night to talk about this. I didn't... I said that the Blade of the Ruined King Black Cleaver set is like the way it's getting played. The attack speed nerfs are absolutely in line with trying to limit the power of Blade of the Ruined King as like a first item spike for him. So this is... Oh, no. I mean, I don't know how SETT's going to play. He was strong. I think he was strong. I think a lot of people calling him weak were playing him wrong. But the problem is they haven't even made his tank build better here. So now you've just got a very like mediocre tank build. And now I think you're really going to have a very mediocre AD build as well. I think these are pretty hefty nerfs. Like this here is pretty hefty. Although, I mean, no, actually, no. You're losing maximum 15 damage on that right punch, right? But then if you're right punching a lot, that's a lot of like... That's a lot of damage you're losing in an extended trade. Bloody hell. Let's test him out. I mean, I think I'll still test the Blade of the Ruined King build because his tank build's kind of crappy. But these changes will definitely limit his damage output way more than before. Way more than before. Is he even ban worthy now? That's the question. I don't know if SETT's ban worthy after this. I really don't, but I'm going to try him. I'm going to try him and see. Vayne. Active healing is going down, and active cooldown is going up. Okay. Vayne has been like unreasonably good for what she's supposed to be like in terms of her power level. This is a pretty significant change. This is probably the most significant change here. Because Vayne's healing did feel kind of ridiculous at times. And that's a pretty significant healing nerf on Vayne's Silver Bolts. But she's still going to be a really like hyper-scaling late game carry, and this doesn't really change that in my opinion. So I think Vayne will still be played by people who are good at Vayne. I think that's the best way of putting it. However, this annoying healing that you often saw her kind of pull out in the middle of a team fight, especially late game, which basically got her to full HP, might be a little easier to deal with now. By the way, guys, it's a good reminder that actually any kind of anti-healing is good against Vayne. Any kind of anti-healing is good against Vayne. because she gets a lot of healing, and anti-healing in the late game, even without other heals on Vayne's team, is almost necessary because of how much she can heal with Silver Bolts. So just a good little reminder that anti-healing is a good option against Vayne. Archangel's Staff is a premier. Seraph's Base is a premier. Is it though? Is it though? Ability haste is going down, and the lifeline shield is coming down by 50. I guess it's because people like, I'm guessing it though, it's more because people that frequently use this are quite popular in the meta. Like Orianna is quite a popular pick right now, and this is kind of a staple for her. But I don't even build this on Ziggs. Like I actually don't build this on Ziggs. I just stick to Ludens. Interesting though. I never really felt that this item was overpowered, but I'm guessing Riot saw its build percentage and its win percentage and thought that maybe it's a little too strong as an item. Serrated Dirk is getting a 2 armor penetration nerf, so all respective builds are getting an armor penetration nerf. Oh wait, no, actually, Serrated Dirk armor penetration is going down, and Edge of Night armor penetration is going down, but Youmuu's Ghostblade and Umbral Glaive are getting armor penetration buffs. I think that's good because Edge of Night was too strong for what it was. And now it means like if you want to go damage, like Youmuu's Ghostblade's your go-to. If you want to have that defensive capability, then Edge of Night is the one. It also it hurts that Serrated Dirk mini power spike that you can get on people like Zed. But I do like the Youmuu's Ghostblade changes. Although I do think that item's already very good. So this is a little dangerous because Youmuu's Ghostblade is already like a good first item choice for most AD assassins. So this might be a little scary if you're going up against Zeds, Pantheons. Zed and Pantheon untouched this patch, and they're both still really good. So just be a little aware that Youmuu's Ghostblade is good, and it will be slightly better this patch. Mastermind is getting a lower gold bonus on objective kill. I didn't know that many junglers were still taking Mastermind. I thought a lot of them switched out to like Riverwalk or whatever it's called. Is it even worth taking Mastermind? Like, there are just better runes at this point, right? I think it's just better. I think there are just better runes than Mastermind. Like, this is like, that's a massive kill on the gold. Barrier's too powerful again, so they're nerfing it. From 100 to 100 to 450. So they're just getting a 15 damage nerf across the board. I mean, 15 damage. Barrier still fulfills that kind of niche that is, you can't stop me with anti-healing, and it provides me a timed shield that is going to be really important for me and gives me the agency to kind of protect against some damage. So I mean, people will still play Barrier because there just isn't a better option. Heal is very inferior compared to Barrier. And because we have a load, I mean, and people just aren't using Exhaust enough right now. If Exhaust became like more meta on Enchanter supports, then maybe we'd see Heal switched out for the AD carries because it just gives you more value across 2. But right now, just the go-to strategy is Barrier on AD carry, Heal on support, and you have the ultimate defensive combination for your bot lane. Well, there we go. That is the patch notes. Appreciate that. Thank you. Big shout out to Alice, our comms specialist, Tiny Frog, for getting this done. Oh, as well as Nick and Sean. Thank you, guys. This is my breakdown. Esports content coming this week, etc. Thank you very, very, very much, guys, for being so nice to me last week. I really appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Enjoy this patch, and I'll see you soon.